The popular guy who was gentle to me only in private. Renee sat on the cold concrete steps behind the gymnasium at Westfield High in Austin, Texas. Her oversized denim jacket hung off one shoulder. A sketchbook balanced on her knees. She was drawing the oak tree near the parking lot, the one with branches that looked like reaching arms. She came here every lunch period. No one bothered her. No one even noticed her. That's why she almost dropped her pencil when the back door swung open. Leo Rivera stepped out. Varsity jacket. Dark hair pushed back. The kind of face that got picked for homecoming court without trying. He stopped when he saw her. For a second, neither of them moved. Renee waited for him to laugh, call someone over, make a joke about the weird art girl hiding behind the gym. But he didn't. He sat down on the step below hers. Pulled out his phone. Said nothing. They stayed like that for 12 minutes. She counted. When the bell rang, he stood up. Looked back at her once. Same time tomorrow? He walked inside before she could answer. Why would the most popular guy at Westfield want to share silence with someone like her? Make sure you subscribe if you want to see what happens next. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? Let's begin. It became routine. Every day at 12:15, Renee would slip out the side door near the science wing. She'd take her spot on the concrete steps. And within 5 minutes, Leo would appear. They never planned it. Never texted. Never acknowledged it anywhere else. He'd sit one step below her. Sometimes he scrolled his phone. Sometimes he just stared at the sky. She kept drawing. Pages filled with trees, buildings, hands, eyes, anything to keep her own hands busy. By the third week, he started talking. Small things. His little sister was annoying. His mom made the best tamales in Texas but refused to teach him the recipe. He was tired of everyone asking where he was applying to college. Renee mostly listened. Occasionally she'd add something. A comment about her own younger brother. A joke about her mom's burnt rice. He laughed once. Really laughed. Not the loud performance he did in the hallways, but something quieter. Real. She looked up from her sketch and caught him watching her. You're easy to talk to, he said. You don't want anything from me. Renee didn't know what to say to that. She wanted to ask what he meant. She wanted to ask why he chose her, of all people, to be real with. But she didn't. Because part of her already knew. Out here, behind the gym, he wasn't Leo Rivera, star athlete, popular kid, everyone's best friend. He was just a boy who needed somewhere to breathe. The problem was, it only existed here. In the hallways, he walked right past her. Eyes forward. Surrounded by his friends. She could have been a locker, a wall, a ghost. The first few times, it stung. By the second week, she told herself it made sense. They weren't friends. Not really. They were just two people who shared a lunch period in secret. But on Thursday, something shifted. Renee was standing at her locker, digging for her history textbook, when Leo walked by with his crew. Marcus, Deshawn, two girls she recognized from the cheerleading squad. One of the girls, Mia, glanced at Renee's open locker. At the small drawing taped inside. A sketch of the oak tree. Oh my God, Mia said, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Is that supposed to be art? The group slowed. Renee's face went hot. She reached to close the locker, but Mia was faster, holding the door open. Wait, I want to see. This is so sad. Like, She actually thinks she's talented. Laughter. Not everyone, but enough. Renee looked at Leo. He was already looking at her. For one single second, she saw something flicker in his expression. Discomfort. Maybe guilt. But he didn't say anything. He turned away. Kept walking. Let Mia's laughter echo down the hall. Renee closed her locker quietly. She didn't cry. She didn't run. She just stood there, realizing that whatever they had behind the gym meant nothing out here. And maybe it never would. Renee didn't go to the steps the next day. She sat in the library instead, tucked in a corner near the biographies no one ever touched. Her sketchbook stayed in her bag. She didn't feel like drawing. She kept replaying it. The way Leo's eyes met hers. The way he turned away. He hadn't laughed. He hadn't joined in. But he also hadn't stopped it. And somehow, that felt worse. Around 12:25, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Where are you? She stared at the screen. Her chest tightened. She didn't respond. 2 minutes later, another message. Renee. Where are you? She turned her phone face down and stayed in the library until the bell rang. The next morning, she found a note in her locker. No name. Just 2 words in messy handwriting. I'm sorry. She crumpled it and threw it in the trash on her way to first period. By Friday, she expected him to give up. But when she walked into her AP English class, a class she'd somehow never noticed they shared, Leo was already there. Back row. Watching the door. Watching her. She sat in her usual seat near the window. Didn't look at him. Mrs. Patterson started talking about their group project. Pairs assigned randomly. 2 weeks to analyze a novel of their choice. Renee barely listened until she heard it. Renee and Leo. Her stomach dropped. She felt him looking at her. She didn't turn around. After class, she grabbed her bag and moved fast toward the door. But he was faster. Renee. She stopped in the hallway. Students streamed around them. Nobody paid attention. Can we talk? He asked. About the project? Sure. Library after school. We can divide the work and do it separately. That's not, he stepped closer, lowering his voice. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. She finally looked at him. He looked tired. Not the fake tired people perform for sympathy. Actually tired. Like he hadn't slept. I should have said something, he said quietly. When Mia did that, I should have stopped her. Yeah. You should have. He didn't argue. Didn't make excuses. I'm not good at this, he said. Being. I don't know. Being real in front of people. You're real with me. When no one's watching. I know. That's the problem, Leo. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. She waited. He couldn't say it. Whatever it was, an explanation, a promise, anything, it stayed stuck somewhere behind his ribs. Renee nodded slowly. Like she just confirmed something she already suspected. Library. After school. Bring your laptop. She walked away. And this time, he didn't follow. They met at 3:30. Renee chose a table near the back, far from the windows where his friends might see. She hated that she thought about that. She hated even more that she was right to. Leo arrived 5 minutes late. He sat across from her without a word. For the first 20 minutes, they only talked about the project. They picked The Great Gatsby, easy, familiar, safe. She'd handle the symbolism. He'd handle the character analysis. They'd meet once more next week to combine it. Simple. Clean. No mess. But when she started packing up, he spoke. My dad left when I was 12. Renee froze. He just didn't come home one day. No note. No call. Mom found out he'd moved to California with someone else. Leo stared at the table. Everyone at school knew. For like a month, I was the kid whose dad bailed. People whispered. Teachers looked at me different. He paused. So I became someone else. Someone people liked. Someone nobody felt sorry for. Renee sat back down slowly. I know that doesn't excuse what happened, he said. I'm not saying it does. I don't know who I am when people are watching. I've been performing for so long I forgot how to stop. She didn't respond right away. Then, quietly, that sounds exhausting. He let out a breath. Almost like a laugh, but not quite. Yeah. It is. They sat in silence for a moment. Not the comfortable kind from behind the gym. Something heavier. I'm not asking you to fix me, Leo said. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know. Renee picked up her bag again. I'll see you next week for the project. She left without looking back. But this time, she didn't throw the feeling away. She carried it with her. Let it sit. Because now she understood something she hadn't before. Leo wasn't cruel. He was scared. That didn't make it okay. But it made it make sense. The following week moved strangely. Renee still avoided the steps behind the gym. She ate lunch in the art room instead, helping Mr. Dominguez organize supplies in exchange for quiet and solitude. She saw Leo in the hallways. He saw her too. Their eyes would meet for half a second before one of them looked away. It wasn't awkward exactly. It was something else. A pause. Like they were both waiting for the other to decide what came next. On Wednesday, they met again in the library to finish the project. This time, Renee arrived first. She spread her notes across the table and kept her head down when he walked in. He sat across from her. No small talk. They worked. An hour in, they had a solid draft. Their writing styles were different, hers precise, his surprisingly thoughtful, but they fit together better than she expected. I didn't know you actually read the book, she said without thinking. He raised an eyebrow. You thought I'd fake it? I thought you'd skim the spark notes and charm your way through. He almost smiled. I probably would've. Before. Before what? He didn't answer right away. Just looked at her, like he was deciding how honest to be. Before you made me want to try harder. Renee's pen stopped moving. She didn't know what to say to that. So she said nothing. They finished the draft in silence. Thursday night, Renee was at home, sitting on her bed with her sketchbook open to a blank page. She hadn't drawn anything in days. Every time she tried, her hand wouldn't move. Her phone buzzed. Leo. Can I ask you something? She stared at the screen. Typed back slowly. Depends on the question. A pause. Then. Why do you draw? She frowned. That wasn't what she expected. Because it's the only place where I don't have to explain myself. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I don't have that. A place like that. She waited. I think that's why I kept coming to the steps. You didn't expect anything. You just let me exist. Renee read the message 3 times. She thought about responding. Thought about telling him that she understood. That she saw him more clearly than he realized. That behind the performance, there was someone worth knowing. But she also remembered the hallway. The silence. The way he chose comfort over her. So she typed. Existing isn't the same as showing up. She put her phone down and didn't check it again. Friday came. 4th period. AP English. Mrs. Patterson had them present their projects. Renee and Leo were 3rd. They stood at the front of the room together. Renee's hands were steady. Leo looked calm, but she noticed his jaw was tight. She presented the symbolism first. Green light. The eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. The Valley of Ashes. Her voice stayed even. She didn't look at him. Then it was his turn. He talked about Gatsby. About performance. About how Gatsby built an entire identity to win someone who only loved the idea of him. He thought if he became what people wanted, he'd finally be enough, Leo said. But he was performing for an audience that was never really paying attention. And by the time he realized that, it was too late. He paused. Renee looked at him. He wasn't reading from notes. He was speaking from somewhere else. The tragedy isn't that Gatsby died, Leo said. It's that he never let anyone see who he actually was. He was so afraid of being rejected for the truth that he never gave anyone the chance to accept it. The room was quiet. Mrs. Patterson nodded slowly. Insightful, Leo. Thank you both. They returned to their seats. Renee didn't look at him for the rest of class. But she heard it. Every word. And she knew it wasn't really about Gatsby. After school, Renee walked to her locker. The hallway was emptying out. Most people had already left for the weekend. She opened her locker and froze. Inside, taped to the back wall, was a drawing. Her drawing. The oak tree. The one Nia had mocked. Someone had carefully flattened it, smoothed out the wrinkles, and placed it back where it belonged. Below it, a sticky note. This deserves to be seen. No signature. But she knew. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the sketch she'd almost thrown away. Then she closed the locker gently. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. But something shifted. Quietly. Like a door unlocking. He still hadn't shown up when it mattered most. He still hadn't stood beside her in public. But he was trying. The question was whether trying was enough. And whether she was willing to wait for him to figure out the rest. 2 weeks passed. Renee went back to the steps behind the gym. Not for Leo. For herself. She liked it there. The quiet. The way the afternoon light hit the oak tree. She wasn't going to let one person ruin the only place at school that felt like hers. The first day, she sat alone. Drew for 40 minutes straight. Filled 3 pages with sketches of leaves, shadows, the cracked concrete beneath her shoes. The second day, same thing. On the 3rd day, she heard the door open. She didn't look up. Leo sat down. 1 step below. Just like before. Neither of them spoke. Renee kept drawing. He stayed quiet. After 10 minutes, she finally said, "I didn't invite you." "I know. So why are you here?" He didn't answer right away. She could feel him thinking, choosing his words carefully. "Because I'm tired of pretending you don't exist." Her pencil paused. "That's a low bar, Leo." "I know that too." She looked at him then. Really looked. He wasn't performing. No easy smile. No charm. Just a boy sitting on cold concrete, waiting to be told whether he still had a chance. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," he said. "I'm not asking for anything. I want to be here. If you'll let me." Renee turned back to her sketchbook. "Don't talk. I'm working." He nodded once. Stayed silent. They sat like that until the bell rang. It happened again the next day. And the day after that. Leo showed up. Sat below her. Said nothing unless she spoke first. Sometimes she didn't. Sometimes she asked small questions. What class he had next. Whether he'd finished the history reading. Surface things. Safe things. He answered simply. Never pushed for more. By the end of the week, something had shifted. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But the anger she'd carried started to feel less sharp. Less necessary. He was showing up. Consistently. Quietly. That meant something. The following Monday, Renee was at her locker before first period when she heard Mia's voice down the hall. "Honestly, I don't get why she even comes to this school. It's not like she fits in." Renee didn't turn around. She knew who they were talking about. She focused on grabbing her books. Kept her expression neutral. She'd survived worse than gossip. But then another voice cut through. "Can you stop? Leo." Renee's hands went still. "What?" Mia sounded confused. "I said stop. You don't know anything about her." "Leo, chill. I was just... You were being cruel. It's not funny. It's never been funny." Silence. Renee slowly closed her locker. Turned around. Leo was standing near the water fountain. Mia and two other girls stared at him like he'd grown a second head. Marcus and Deshawn lingered nearby, looking uncomfortable. Nobody was laughing now. Leo didn't look at Renee. Didn't make a scene. He just picked up his backpack from the floor and walked toward his first class. Mia muttered something under her breath. The group scattered. Renee stayed by her locker. Her heart was beating faster than she wanted to admit. He hadn't done it for an audience. He hadn't made a speech or caused a spectacle. He'd just stopped it. Quietly. Firmly. Without asking for credit. She watched him disappear down the hallway. And for the first time since all of this started, she let herself believe that maybe he was becoming the person he wanted to be. Renee found him at the steps that afternoon. He was already there when she arrived. Sitting in his usual spot. Staring at the oak tree like it held answers she couldn't see. She sat down beside him. Not one step above. Right next to him. He glanced at her. Surprised. Didn't say anything. They stayed quiet for a while. The wind moved through the branches above. Somewhere in the distance, a car horn honked. "I heard what you said to Mia," Renee finally said. Leo exhaled slowly. "I should have said it a long time ago. Yeah, you should've. He nodded, accepting it, not defending himself. Why now? She asked. He was quiet for a moment. Then he turned to look at her. Because I realized something. I've spent 4 years making sure everyone likes me. Making sure I never stand out for the wrong reasons. Making sure no one ever looks at me the way they did when my dad left. He paused. But the one person whose opinion actually matters? I kept letting her down. Over and over. Renee's chest tightened. Leo. I'm not saying this to get something from you, he said quickly. I'm saying it because you deserve to hear it. You were never the problem. I was so scared of losing the version of me that everyone else liked that I forgot to be someone I actually liked. He looked away again. Back at the tree. You made me realize I don't want to be that person anymore. The one who stays quiet when it matters. The one who picks easy over right. Renee didn't respond immediately. She watched his profile. The tension in his jaw. The way his hands gripped his knees. He wasn't performing. He wasn't trying to win her over with charm or words that sounded good. He was just telling the truth. Finally. I'm not going to pretend it didn't hurt, she said quietly. When you walked past me in the hallway. When you let me say those things. It hurt, Leo. I know. And I'm not just going to forget it because you did one good thing. I know that too. She nodded slowly. Let the silence sit between them for a moment. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out her sketchbook. Flipped to a page near the back. She'd drawn him. Not the version everyone else saw, the athlete, the popular kid, the easy smile. This was different. Softer. He was sitting on the steps, head tilted down, sunlight catching the edge of his face. He looked at it for a long time. When did you draw this? Last week. Why? She shrugged. Because this is the version of you I actually see. He swallowed hard. His eyes stayed on the sketch. I want to be that person, he said. Not just here. Not just with you. Everywhere. Then be him. He looked up at her. It's not going to happen overnight, she said. And I'm not going to wait around while you figure it out. But if you're serious, actually serious, then I'm willing to see where this goes. Like, friends? Renee almost smiled. Like two people who don't know what they are yet. And that's okay. Leo let out a breath. Relief and nerves all tangled together. I can work with that. Good. She closed her sketchbook. Put it back in her bag. He didn't try to hold her hand. Didn't try to make it into a moment. He just sat there. Present. Real. And for the first time, that felt like enough. Spring came slowly to Austin that year. The oak tree behind the gym grew fuller. Greener. Renee sketched it so many times she could draw it from memory. Things didn't change overnight. She never expected them to. But they changed. Leo started sitting with different people at lunch. Not always his usual crowd. Sometimes with Marcus, who turned out to be quieter and kinder than Renee had assumed. Sometimes alone. He stopped laughing at jokes that weren't funny. Stopped nodding along when people said things he didn't agree with. It was small. Most people probably didn't notice. But Renee did. In April, the school held its annual spring art show. Renee almost didn't submit anything. She'd never shown her work publicly before. The idea of people staring at her drawings, judging them, felt like handing over pieces of herself she wasn't ready to share. But Mr. Dominguez encouraged her. Said her sketches had something most student work didn't. Honesty. So she submitted 3 pieces. The oak tree. A drawing of her little brother asleep on the couch. And the one of Leo on the steps. She didn't tell him about it. The night of the show, the hallway outside the art room was crowded. Parents, students, teachers. Renee stood near the back, arms crossed, watching people move past her work without stopping. That was fine. She hadn't done it for attention. But then she saw him. Leo walked in alone. No friends. No entourage. He moved through the crowd slowly, looking at each piece like he actually cared. When he reached her section, he stopped. He stood in front of the sketch of himself for a long time. Renee watched from across the room. Her heart thudded in her chest. Finally, he turned. Found her in the crowd. He didn't wave. Didn't call out. He just smiled. Small. Private. The kind of smile that was only for her. She smiled back. After the show, they walked to the parking lot together. The air was warm. Crickets hummed somewhere in the grass. "You're really talented," Leo said. Like, actually talented. Not just hobby talented. Thanks. I mean it. You should do something with it. Art school. Design. Something. Renee shrugged. Maybe. I haven't figured it out yet. You will. They reached her mom's old Honda. Renee leaned against the door but didn't open it. Can I ask you something? She said. Always. Are you happy? Like, actually happy. Not performing happy. Real happy. Leo thought about it. Longer than most people would. I'm getting there, he said. It's like I spent so long being someone else that I forgot who I actually was. And now I'm trying to figure it out. It's weird. Sometimes it's hard. But yeah, I think I'm getting there. Renee nodded. Good. He stepped a little closer. Not too close. Just enough. What about you? Are you happy? She looked at him. At the boy who used to walk past her like she was invisible. The boy who sat with her in silence when she needed it most. The boy who was still learning how to be real. I'm getting there too, she said. He smiled again. That private one. Maybe we can figure it out together. Maybe. She opened her car door. Paused. Same time tomorrow? The steps. Yeah, he said. Same time tomorrow. She got in the car. Pulled out of the parking lot. In the rearview mirror, she saw him still standing there. Watching her go. Not performing. Just present. They didn't become a perfect couple overnight. They didn't post about each other online or hold hands in the hallway for everyone to see. But they showed up for each other. Every day. Quietly. Consistently. Leo learned how to be real in front of others, not just in private. It took time. He stumbled sometimes. But he kept trying. Renee learned how to let someone in without expecting them to hurt her. That took time too. But she kept the door open. And slowly, what started as silence behind a gym became something louder. Not loud like drama. Loud like truth. Two people, choosing each other. Not because it was easy, because it was worth it. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It really means a lot. If this story made you feel something, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. And leave a comment, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next story.